Hello, my name is Charles Frazier and welcome to my garden. Today is August 31st. You know, for years, by the time we got to August 31st, I was ready to quit gardening, go to the house, and call it a season. But I have found out in recent years that I can continue the growing season for several more weeks. And today we are going to show you on how that you can expand the gardening season for several more weeks. We're going to be looking at the salad table today, and we're going to be planting, I don't know, 2 or 3 kinds of lettuce, and we're going to be having some good fall lettuce to come in that we may enjoy some nice crisp salads. Going to show you some green beans that I am growing right now, and they are looking well, looking great. Then we're going to be looking at some cabbage plants that I have that I planted here the other day, and we're going to look at them and mulch them down a little bit. Also, I've already planted turnip greens and a mixture of greens, and we're going to look at that. We just got several things going on today, and we just want to let you know that you can extend your gardening season and grow well into the fall and enjoy those fresh vegetables out of your garden. The first thing we want to show you on the show today is our salad table. Now, this is a salad table, if you remember, if you were watching The Wood Shop with Randy Green. Randy was very, very kind and put us together 2 salad tables, one for him and one for me. And we are going to be using the salad table this fall in planting some lettuce. And so I dumped out the soil that I had in here, and I had some leftover potting soil that I had not used for my flowers earlier in the year. And so I thought, well, I will just go ahead and put this potting soil in here. And so we've got just kind of a nice loose potting soil. I kind of like using a nice loose potting soil, especially for lettuce seeds, because they are so tiny, and you know, you don't want soil that's going to be hard and compacting. And so, you know, this here will work well. That's one thing that I love about whether you're growing in containers or if you're growing on salad tables or even in raised beds. You control the soil that goes into the container or the salad table or the raised bed. And so you can kind of dictate that, and it kind of works out pretty well. And so that's kind of what we're doing here. We're just kind of filling this up with fresh potting soil, and it already has a fertilizer in there, so I do not have to worry about fertilizing. I think it's got an extension there. I don't know if it's 3 months to 6 months, and we just have just a great way to do that and don't have to be bothered with that. If you're like me, I like things to be as simple as they can, and so we're just going to put some more on there because this will settle down a little bit after it is watered, and we just want to make sure that we have enough, which it does not take a whole lot for lettuce. It is pretty simple, and so we're just going to do that. We have different seeds that we're going to be planting today. In one side we have black seeded Simpson lettuce. And I'll just kind of turn that around there for you to look at for there just a moment. And as you look at there, black seeded Simpson lettuce, this is probably one of the favorites that is grown here in West Kentucky. And you go to your garden centers and where you can purchase seed here, this is one that you will always be able to find. And so we're just going to open this. All right, and then I'm just going to pour these into my hand, kind of like so, and then I'm going to start sowing these. There are a lot of seeds that are in here, and way more way more than what this particular area needs. And so I'm just going to kind of put a few just here and there. All right, that should probably be. I've probably got 4 times as many as I need, and see here this pack is you know, still doesn't even look like I've even touched it. What I will do, you know, I will put this back in the refrigerator or the freezer, and I will use it at a later date. Some seeds lose their germination, some do, they say. when you put them in the refrigerator or freezer, but I have found that yes, you may lose a few seeds, but what is left there will be more than what you need. And so we've planted this black seeded Simpson lettuce here, and I'm just going to take my hand and just mix these in. You know, these seeds are very, very small, so you know you don't have to dig a trench and place the seeds down in there 1 inch to 2 inches deep. These are very, very light, and you can just kind of put on the top of the soil and just kind of, what we would say in gardening, probably rake them in. Then I'm going to compress a little bit. All right, compress these seeds down. Because these seeds are so light, the wind can blow them away, but also compaction will help them in germination as well. And so we're just going to compact them a little bit there so that they are available. So that they are will stay there where they need to be. Then I'm going to just put a little bit of water. I don't have my watering can, so I just brought this little bucket out there, and we're going to water these seeds in a little bit. Like I say, it would be better if I had my watering can, but I have it at a different location. All right, that just gives them a little bit of moisture. The seeds will need a little bit of moisture for them to sprout and things. And so we're going to do that for there. All right, now we got the black seeded Simpson lettuce ready, but we want to have maybe a few more. I don't know, this past summer I've eaten a lot of salads, and I have grown to like the different taste of different lettuces there, and love spinach in my salad as well. And so I have some others that we're going to plant. In fact, I have a new one that I'm going to plant, and it is called green ice, a green ice lettuce. And so let's just kind of do some leveling off here. Got a few little clods there that we will work on. All right. And then, now these are a little tinier than the black seeded. And like I say, it doesn't take too many. All right. All right, that was on the green ice. Now, I have another variety that I'm going to plant, and it is called Great Lakes lettuce. Great Lakes lettuce. And what I'm going to do on it, and like I said, very fine seed, I'm going to plant these on the perimeter of the salad table so that I kind of know which one is which. And I encourage you, after you plant these, have you a journal, have a small notebook that you can use, because if you're like me, you'll forget what you're doing and what you've planted and where you've planted it. And so if you just make a little notation there on this one here is black seeded Simpson lettuce. You know, on this one here we got green ice in the middle. And then on the outside, you know, the Great Lakes, we put the Great Lakes lettuce on the outside, so that you'll kind of remember that. And so then we're just going to kind of rake these in. And of course, also being the 31st day of August, we've had a rather warm summer, and lettuce likes cooler weather, likes cooler temperatures. And this final week of August, you know, we had temperature for several days in the 90s, and that's really difficult for cold crops. You know, your lettuce, your cabbage, your broccoli, and other things, you know, they would like to see those cooler temperatures, 75 or lower. And so that's why it doesn't bother me planting this late, or even planting into September, because I know that it wants to stay away from those hot temperatures that we are having right now. I'm going to water this in. So there you have it. We have our salad table and it is planted, and we'll be looking for some good fresh lettuce to make some salads out of this fall. Since we've been talking about lettuce, I'm also going to share with you about some other greens that I have planted this fall. Last week I tilled this particular area up and I sowed a mixture of greens. They came that way in the package, and they were very inexpensive to buy. And they had turnip greens in there. There was 7 top that was in there. There was purple top in there. There was kale. There was even some mustard that was in, mustard greens. And so this kind of a Duke mixture, and I kind of like a Duke mixture whenever with my turnip greens, mustard greens, kale. As I am enjoying that, that's kind of one of my favorite dishes is turnip greens. And so, you know, we planted this, you know, a couple of years ago, Mariana. We did this in a show with Mariana, but I did not show you the seeds that were coming up. And as you noticed, you can see some seeds that are coming up of the different kind. Now I want to point your attention to the side. You notice this side here has more seeds that are coming up here, a more concentration of sprouting that is coming up. That was intentional. A lot of times I plant things too thick. And I did that a couple of years ago with my greens, and because I had planted things so thick, it hindered my production of turnips. And so you've got to kind of keep that in mind. So what I did, I sowed lightly in this middle here, and you can see that they are lightly coming up, which is what I am wanting. But then I wanted to see what it would do whenever planting them a little thicker. So after I planted everything, seeds, I came back and then I sowed seed right down this side. And as you can tell, there's a difference here. These lots more concentration than what is out there. Also, we'll judge this. I will see how the turnips do in here as opposed to those that are growing out there. So there'll be a little comparison between the two. And so we're very looking forward to these. A good friend of mine said that he does not plant his turnips until September 1st because of the insects. He says, you know, when he plants them around the 20th of August, that the insects kind of are more to deal with, and by him waiting a little bit later, a lot of those insects have kind of gone out the height of their growing season, and so they're not as many. And so, you know, you've got plenty of time as we think moving into here the first week of September of growing your turnip greens, mustard greens, kale greens. Well, we have moved on down in the garden, and this is a garden that has already grown an early spring, early summer garden, and we've tilled it all back up again, and we're working, that's where we've extended it again. Got a second growing season happening here. Something that I'm trying for the first time, it is carrots, and I have planted a row of carrots here. Notice I have mounded them up in case we were to have some serious rainfall or something, because this is pretty well a flat surface to where I am standing. And when you deal with flat surfaces in the garden, sometimes when it rains a lot, it ponds, and which causes a lot of problems for you with the vegetables that you have. So we just kind of want to stop by and show you with these carrots that I have planted. They haven't sprouted yet. They've just been in the ground about a week, but we're looking forward. Like I said, new experience for me planting carrots this time of year. And I'm also going to plant some snow peas, and we're going to try that and see how that works out, planting snow peas. So as we do a next show here in a little while, maybe we can come back and see how these things are doing. But we just want to stop by and let you know we put in a row of carrots. We're now over here. We've gone from greens and carrots to cabbage, and as you will know, cabbage is another cool weather crop, and I'm just going to kind of back up here and kind of share you some things. Got 2 varieties of cabbage that I'm growing this time. I got a Bravo cabbage over here. These, I don't know, 6 plants here are what we call Bravos. Bravo is, of course, there's just several kinds of cabbage plants that are out there. Bravo is a good cabbage. It is kind of a lighter head. It's not tightly packed head of cabbage, and so they're looking good. The plants are doing very well. I've had to kind of nurture them a little bit because, you know, this past week we had 90-degree weather, and I'm grateful that, you know, we've had, you know, some rain on these, which help. But then also in the evening, I'd come out and give them a little bit of a drink of water, say mid-afternoon, 4 o'clock or so, just to kind of help them out because they're in a transition stage coming out of the containers that they were in. And so we've been working with them and trying to help them out. On this side over here, you can tell if you look at them, you can see that a little bit different variety here. These has kind of got a smaller leaf. These here, these stone heads, got a little bit larger leaf. It is a smaller head of cabbage in comparison to the Bravo. The Bravo is a little bit larger, but it is looser. But the Stonehead is kind of a smaller, but it's tightly packed, and it's a heavier head of cabbage. And I have planted more of the Stonehead than I have of the Bravo because I do like a smaller head of cabbage for Miss Vicki and myself, and enjoying that. And you know, we prepare cabbage a couple of different ways and enjoying that. But while we're out here today, I want to talk about mulching. And the weeds are growing, and while I have tilled this, you know, 2 or 3 times already, but then also even I can see now the weed seed is already growing, and I want to get rid of that. And yes, I can come back out here and till again, and that would be all well and fine, but then I can mulch as well. First off, when we think of mulching, I'm on a mulch with straw today, wheat straw, but then you could put straw down up on this in this kind of setting, but then there would be a problem because then the weed seed would be coming up through the wheat straw. So you need a barrier. You need a barrier between that to keep those seed from coming through there, and we are going to use newspaper. And I have put this newspaper, just a regular newspaper, and you say, well, what about the ink? You know, what about is there going to be a problem with ink? Most ink, whether it is black and white or different color ink, is soybean based. And so as you think of soybeans, you think of organic. And so the ink, as what I have been told in my research and things, will be fine. And what you will do, you will open this paper up, and you need about 3 sheets. You need about 3 sheets of paper, and that you will use there. Put that 3 sheets of paper down. 1 sheet is not enough. All right, you'll need more than 1. But then also, as you noticed, I'm putting this in water, and there's a reason for that. Of putting that in water is because, like right now, the wind is blowing, and if you've ever chased newspapers across the lawn, you know exactly what I'm saying. But as you notice here, look at here right now, it is staying where it needs to because it has been soaked there. All right? That's a little bit more of a challenge of opening this thing up, but that's not a major problem. All right, you notice I have put this down the middle, but then also we have some side exposure that is going on here, and which it wouldn't hurt. It's kind of coming up on the side here. Just kind of give you an example of what we need to do here. And not only as we think of a weed, a barrier, but as you noticed, I have dipped these in water to keep the wind from blowing them around in the garden. But then also, we can see here that this will give added moisture. This will give added moisture for the cabbage plants, so that if I don't get a rain in the next few days, you know, it will be okay. There's really kind of no method to this. You just kind of work with it and As you know, in gardening, our best deal is just to learn by experience, and gardening seems like experience is the greatest teacher when it comes to these things. Well, I'm going to wrap this up and show you just a little bit what we can do here. Give you an idea. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to take my wheat straw, take a flake of wheat straw, and then just begin to pull it apart. All right. Stand over the place where you're working that way, because it's going to come apart. Take another flake here. Work it around your cabbage plants. Cover up the paper. Going on here. And notice whenever it rains, the rains will compact it down. It's kind of fluffy right now, and that's okay, I don't mind that. So this mulching will do two things immediately. Number one, it will stop the weeds. Of course, right now, we're still in warm weather. We still have weed seeds that are growing, that are sprouting right now. Frost to hit, and it will kill a lot of seeds. Of course, frost don't bother cabbage, so I won't have to worry about covering them up. But then also, not only we have warm weather weed seeds, we have cold weather weed seeds. And when the cold weather hits, the weed seeds will start again. So not only I'm doing this for warm weather seeds, but also for cold weather seeds while these cabbage plants are growing and producing a nice head of cabbage for me. And then also the moisture. This will help maintain moisture. If we have kind of a dry fall and things here, and then of course I can always irrigate if I need to. But then it's just maintenance free. It helps out. Basically, I just have to watch for infestations of insects to make sure that they're not being bothered. So it's very, very helpful, and also provides you to do things in the other parts of the garden, because these are maintenance free now. Now I want to show you some green beans that I have planted. These are the Roma green beans. This is Mariana's favorite green bean that we grow every year, and we put these out. I want to say it was somewhere around probably the first week of August, August 3rd, August 4th, and they're just doing very, very good, and they are well on their way. In fact, I see some blooms. They're going to be blooming next week, and of course these hot temperatures, they have thrived on these hot temperatures. They look good. They look very, very healthy. They've been kind of easier to maintain than what we have in the spring, because it is drier in the fall. Or it's not actually fall, but it's drier than August than it is, say, in May and June. And I had a hard time keeping the weeds out of the garden early on, but this one has been less of a challenge, and you can tell the green beans are thriving because of it. I put down triple 10 initially, and then here last week I side dressed them with a little bit more fertilizer, tilled that in, and we had a nice inch rain to fall on them, and they are just doing great. These are just one of the varieties. We got some other varieties we'd like to show you. We're standing in another garden that I have, and this is another one that I started around that first week of August, and it is growing great. It is doing good. It looks healthy, and the weeds are pretty well under control. Grass has got a little bit of Bermuda grass that's growing. I've got several different things going on here. These first two rows, we have purple hull peas, and these purple hull peas are looking great. They're doing good. So looking forward to them bearing well. These next two rows are green beans, and these are the Jade green bean, which is probably becoming the all-popular favorite here in West Kentucky, that with the Jade green bean. The problem, though, that I have had with the Jade is having a good stand, and as you notice right here, I've got some skips, is what we gardeners say. We have skips in the row, and that's where the seeds did not come up. There were plenty of seeds that were planted, but having some germination problems with the seed. Now, this row over here does not seem to be affected as much, but this first row did, and so don't know what's all's going on, but this is something that I've dealt with even to a greater degree in the springtime. Then our next two rows are the Derby beans, and one of my favorites is the Derby green bean. Sad to say, this variety is being discontinued, and so if you run across Derby bean seed, you need to hold on to it, because I don't know how many more years that it will be around. Probably what I will start doing, I'll start planting these Derbys in a dedicated place where no other green beans are around, and start saving the seed. It's sad to say, folks, that we have lost several varieties of green beans. We've lost several varieties of peas over the years, and that we just kind of lost through time, and I hate that, because they were some great tasting peas and green beans, and so we just want to kind of share with you. Then I have this one single row. It's not a very, very good stand, as you see, and it is called the Bravo green bean. I have never grown the Bravo, but I've talked to other gardeners, and they have raised Bravo. I've even contacted the seed companies, and just to inquire, just to see about them. They like the Bravo. It is a shorter green bean, say maybe 4 to 5 inches long, 5 inches being the longest length for the green bean. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's where I like the Derby green bean. I mean, they're a nice 7 to 8 inch green bean and whenever they fully mature. One of the good things about the Derby is they don't get tough very quickly. It's kind of one of the varieties that does not get tough very quickly. Some varieties do, and you have to watch that, especially if you're picking. And so, but the Bravo, we're going to be taking some notes on it. And then this last row, this is a row of yellow straight neck squash. Yellow straight neck squash. And I think I'll have enough here to feed Marshall County. I do. I think that I will. And but it looks good. It looks healthy, and so it will not be very long that these squash will be blooming, and I'll be enjoying some great yellow straight neck squash on into fall. No doubt in my mind. So we just wanted to share this garden here. And as gardeners, we are proud of our gardens, and this one here, it has probably been about one of the best that I've had all season. I hope that you've enjoyed our program for today. Like I say, being the last day in the month of August, just wanted to show you that you can plant so many things in the month of August and enjoy them throughout the fall and have that growing, extended garden season. We look forward to being with you next time. Next time, we've just gone out and we have picked a few pears. These are Kiefer pears. That is the variety of them. And next episode, we hope to be back in the kitchen and making some good old pear preserves. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless.